between Western Wolves' Ziktomini going to be going up against Sason Light. Really interesting to see how... I haven't really seen too much of Sason. Or should I just call him Son? I think I'll just call him Son. And in fact, I haven't actually cast, because he doesn't actually normally play in the daily cups I cast. So I wonder if it's Son or Sason. So let me know in chat. But he will be Son for now. He was recently, of course, discharged from compulsory service and joined Light Esports. Let's see how he's doing. But for now, we have the red Zerg in the top left corner, ladies and gentlemen. It is the winner of the winner of the UK Nationals, I believe. Let's see what he can do here. It is Ziktomini. And in the meantime, in the bottom right, as the blue Protoss, I love this chat. No, he plays and beats Idra a lot. Oh, okay, fair enough then. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Sason Light. So a pretty powerful Korean pro-gamer here in the bottom right, going to be going up against Ziktomini. Let's see what they choose to do on Ohana now. Of course, Forge Fast Expands versus Fast 3 Hatch, not exactly uncommon on this particular map. We've seen it quite a few times before. And we have the pylon on the low ground as well from Son. So this is potentially going to indicate that he's just going to be going for a very quick expansion. The question is whether the Forge will go down or whether he feels safe enough to go Nexus first. Now, Zikto is going to grab the spawning pool first, so he's not going to try Hatch first or anything like that on the off chance that a probe is just going to be blocking and annoying him to Kingdom Come. He's playing the super bog standard pool, presumably into double Hatch. We'll have to wait and see. But in the meantime, it looks like Son's not actually going for his Forge. So he is going to be, just going to be going for that Nexus first. Feeling very, very calm, not thinking he has to grab any sort of immediate cannon going up, which is interesting because he hasn't actually scouted. So he doesn't know if Zikto is going to give some crazy one-base cheese or anything like that. But of course, these guys are both incredibly, incredibly talented gamers. Son, I think, one of the top guys on the GM ladder over in the US. Someone in chat was actually mentioning he's like possibly even very close to the sharp end. So really, really strong player. And Zikto, of course, winning the WCS UK, a very, very powerful Zerg player who really showed us that actually the UK isn't all about bling and Muslim. A lot of Zergs coming out of the woodwork. Of course, we have Johnny Rico, Ziktomini, and Orc. Most people know them now who didn't know them before. Very powerful UK Zergs as the third hatchery now goes down for Zikto. In the meantime, guys, we're going to have a little bit of downtime here because both of these guys are just going to be powering up as quickly as they possibly can off of their 2 bases and 3 bases, respectively. We see the wall off here finished with 2 gateways and a forge. Oh, no, actually, the second gateway, presumably just to stop some scouting or something similar. Has Son made a mistake, and did he want to get his cybernetics core there instead? Interesting stuff going on here. And there's the cybernetics core in the main base. So I'm guessing he was just wanting to double check there wasn't going to be a run by or something like that, I guess, and he's just going to be canceling that gateway. Continue using his chrono boost on probes, so nothing too out of the ordinary there. And so that's potentially going to set his Stalker and Sentry count back just a little bit, but it doesn't look like it's going to be doing anything major in the long term. The Zealot now going to be moving out towards the center of the map. Just going to be checking to make sure that nothing is at that watchtower, and nothing is at that watchtower now that Zergling sees Zealot and decides to get the hell out of Dodge. In the meantime, still a lot of droning up going on. Let's take a look at the work supply here. We actually have 34 versus 34 dead at the moment. So both these guys clearly have respect for each other and are just going to be playing their normal game. It looks like a robotics facility has just gone down for Son. So this will be his tech route of choice in this particular game. Protoss and ground weapons level 1 have just been taken, and the first 2 gases in the main base now are going down for Ziktomini. And I hear a couple of people in chat saying, hey guys, it's a ZVP, no rush 25 minutes or similar. And, well, actually, to be fair, this game might shape up that way. You can't be 100% sure. We could just go straight up just sort of endgame PvZ, like rush for the mothership, get the Broodlords out. But Son looking like he feels like putting on a little bit of pressure at some point soon, because you have another 3 gateways going down, so it could just be a 4-gate pressure, and a Robo, don't forget, is down as well. So if he wants to do any potential Warp Prism shenanigans, he does have the option to now, and indeed a Warp Prism is going to be what's coming out for Son here. So this means that he is not just going to sit back and tech. And to be fair, he hasn't actually done very much scouting this game, as you can tell from this mini-map here. So it'll be good to see whether he will be able to get a decent amount of damage on with this Warp Prism. Zikto, in the meantime, just going to be moving his legs out all across the map, wanting to make sure that there aren't any scouting pylons or sneaky probes in play. And we have now got the Warp Prism moving out with 2 Zealots and a probe. Interestingly enough, this is very, very curious. Let's see what he does. Is he going to maybe pylon block something? The main and the natural aren't quite walled off, so potentially this could get walled off by pylons or something similar. I wonder if this is something he is, in fact, going to do to try and punish that lack of creep spread connecting those bases. And wow, that's a lot of drones and queens taken out. So if Son didn't know before, he certainly did know now. Ziktomini doing a really, really good job of preemptively defending at the top of that ramp, but we now have a lot of Zealots being warped in. They're actually doing so much damage against the Zerglings. What else can Zikto do to defend against this? 1 queen goes down, the second one's going to go down as well. That's actually a massive loss for Zikto at this stage in the game. He has 18 Lings and 2 Roaches incoming, and there we go. We have a triple pylons, ladies and gentlemen, and a photon cannon going down inside the main base, and a round of Zealots. If they survive long enough for this cannon to go down, that could be pretty darn huge. A second cannon going up as well, separating the main base from the natural, and we are punishing this lack of a creep trimmer on the high ground, connecting the main base to the natural expansions. Son here is making Ziktomini seriously regret that kind of thing. We have now got a queen popping out in the main, but really it's not going to be doing much at all. And Immortal even joining the fray for Son, and GG immediately from Zikto. So Son is going to be taking game number 1. Well, guys, that was a pretty entertaining finish to the game there. Son punishing that lack of creep spread on the top of the ramp from Zikto on Ohana, and he takes a 1-0 lead in the best-of-3 series here. Zikto is down, but he is not out just yet. Son showing us what he's made of and showing us that he can adapt to the situation. He noticed that Zikto wasn't attacking him in the early game, and he didn't actually scout the main base before the Warp Prism went there as well, which was a little bit gutsy. So he might have had a different strategy in mind if he saw the creep, for example, connecting the main base to the natural. He would have been able to do something else with the Warp Prism. But the probe in the Warp Prism proved to be the sneaky snake of the game there, dropping the pylons and the photon cannons at the wall up between the main and natural. So guys, game number 2 is going to be on Daybreak. We have Ziktomini going up against Son Light. Can Son actually make this 2-0, or will Zikto be able to draw the series and bring it back? We'll find out in just a moment. Let's get into the game. Spawning over here in the top right-hand position, ladies and gentlemen, he is currently down 1 game, the winner of the WCS UK Nationals, but he's on the verge of elimination of this particular tournament, trying to win himself a whole bunch of stuff towards I-47 in the ESET UK's Masters Finals. Can he hold on? It is Ziktomini. And in the bottom left-hand corner, ladies and gentlemen, spawning as the blue Protoss representing Light Esports, our resident Korean boss, we have Son. So that first game, guys, was pretty abrupt. I mean, Son saw an opportunity and completely and utterly exploited it as quickly as he could manage. And unfortunately, by about halfway through that engagement, Zikto really was clutching at straws and didn't have too much of a chance, because once the larvae that were becoming more Zerglings and Roaches were stopped from getting to the natural expansion, Son could just do so much damage with the Zealots at the natural. And that really made the game there. So some creep spread would have done him good. Let's see if that actually changes his style up a little bit in this particular game, if he's going to be spreading a little more creep as an immediate reaction to that sort of play. So we've got the pylon going down once again, guys, on the low ground here, which means Son is going to be going for that rather early expansion. Nothing too out of the ordinary. Daybreak as well. Deceptively long rush distance, actually, because of these destructible rocks in the middle of the map. Going from one base to another actually requires you to go all the way around here or all the way around the bottom here. So the rush distance isn't nearly as short as it seems on the minimap, and as a result, we see Nexus first here. Not too uncommon, and that is actually what Son is going to be going for on this particular occasion. In the meantime... Oh, and thank you very much for that chat, by the way. Just confirmation there that Son is, in fact, playing from the United States. For those of you who are not entirely certain. Playing from Korea, by the way, you get absolutely horrendous lag on the EU server. And that's from experience. Like, I have a decent connection here, and trying to connect to the Korean server is actually hell on wheels, ladies and gentlemen. And you get some Korean players like continue to play in EU tournaments, like the TSL Zergs, for example, love playing in Play-Em daily. So I've cast Revival and Hyun quite a bit, and they just do so unbelievably well despite the lag. It's actually super impressive. And when you see them in person and realize they're even better when there's just absolutely no lag involved, that's just even it just blows your mind. It's really good. But right now, we're not too interested in playing from Korea because we have two players playing from the UK and the US as Ziktomini takes his third base. A scouting probe from Son. Just going to be checking out what's going on here and should be able to see that the natural and presumably the third have both gone up. A queen already being transferred to the natural expansion as well. Just wanting to pop up to see if there's any sort of super early tech or something like that. In the meantime, we have a cybernetic score going down now for Son, just finishing off his wall. No big problems. Double gas in the main base now, so a fairly normal gas timing from what I can see. No super quick third or fourth gas, and this Overlord is there precisely to see this third and fourth gas and exactly when it goes down from Ziktomini. And all in all, just a much more comfortable game on this particular map for Zikto so far. Now, a couple of things that are important to note. These Overlords in these high ground positions do allow Zikto, for example, this Zealot, to see a decent chunk of the map. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult for Son to sneak a Warp Prism past Zikto on this particular occasion, even having one in the back of the base, for example. You would have to really snake a Warp Prism very, very precisely through sort of like the little nook and cranny that may be up here, and you'd have to scout out the position of all the Overlords before you knew you could take someone by surprise. So it's a little more tricky on this map, but by no means impossible. Now, a +1 ground weapons coming out from our Protoss player. A couple of links just going to be moving up towards the third base, wanting to try and scout for any sort of sneaky snake probes. And yes, okay, it looks like that does actually get scouted there. So Zikto will be able to repel that probe, but we have got two Zealots here from Son, just moving up towards the north location here. Is this another probe? No, it's a third Zealot. And yes, we have a second probe being sent out here, but the Zerg being at the watchtower for Zikto actually sees it, so that's going to be super useful for him. The original probe has gotten away, but has been backed all the way onto the blue half of the map here, and we've got an additional 6 gateways. So it looks like a bigger gateway timing than last game, ladies and gentlemen, is about to start for Son here. Going up to 6 gate, and that, no, a 7th gate, so looks like we're going up to 7 anyway. Let me just do a quick count. That's 2 there, 5 there. Yep. So we're going up to 7 gateways, and this is going to be a pretty big pressure coming out of him. We have managed to sneak a probe in, and now going to be putting a pylon on the high ground. Oh dear. This could be bad news for Zikto, because he's busy chasing this probe, and he thinks that that's it. But it's really not it, and he now finds out very, very rudely indeed. Son now going to be moving up the ramp with a healthy number of units. Zikto does have some defense, but with so many Zealots in front of this army, Zikto just can't take the army as it currently stands. Son now putting another pylon down on the high ground, just wanting to warp in as much as he can. Reinforcing Lings and Roaches do arrive, but those Zealots can just soak up so much damage. Zikto now trying to move back in with that last reinforcement of Ling, but 4 more Zealots are on the way, and even if the Lings get good shots off on the Stalkers, the Zealots are going to be able to start engaging here. Zikto now non-stop producing Lings and Roach. He's got 3 Roaches, clear reconstitution, and a +1 missile attacks on the way. Pardon me, Zergling speed on the way, but This is looking pretty grim for him, to be perfectly honest. He's still up on supply, 65 to 61, but the army just isn't strong enough to counter this particular composition and this particular timing coming out of Son here. We have some more roaches popping, and they're just being engaged separately. We don't have all the roaches sort of banding together, if you will, and now Son actually sending some zealots up into the main base independent of this army, feeling that he's quite confident here. We've got some sentries with this army as well, and they do have enough energy for force fields, so he can potentially do that with time too. But Zikto, in the meantime, is really, unfortunately, just trying to flee a sinking ship and stabilize here. There's just too many units for him to do that, though, as he slips below the 50 supply mark. Work has killed 13 to 1 so far. Absolutely no sign of slowing down is Son. He's been spending his money continuously warping more and more units in, and I think these might be the death throes of Ziktomini, who takes a surprise exit, I would say. Well, maybe not surprise against someone as good as Son, but certainly he was expecting to get deeper in the bracket than this, because he looks like he is about to go down 2-0 in this best of 3 series, and unfortunately bow out of the first ESET UK Masters Qualifier. I've got the drones running away from the third base at the moment, but realistically, no base is safe right now. We have zealots at the main and natural. GG, well played, coming out of Zikto. And Son, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be moving on with that 2-0 victory. All right, guys, so it looks like Son mixed it up in game number 2. Game number 1, of course, a really effective War Prism play coming out of here, segregating the main and the natural, punishing that lack of a creep tumor at the top in his main base from Ziktomini, getting that triple pylon wall off at the top with a cannon to reinforce and just engaging the army at the natural, really effectively done from Son. And game number 2, we have that 7-gate timing that was just worked out oh so unbelievably well. Zikto was caught with the Zerg equivalent of his pants down, continuing to drone up, only just starting Glial Reconstitution and Zergling speed, having about half the army size required initially to defeat, and Son was able to get into a position where he effectively just took out a little bit of the army at a time. If you sort of took 3 or 4 of those engagements and put all the armies together, Zikto might have been able to take on Son. But Son was zoning out and just effectively hit Zikto at a time where Zikto just wasn't able to engage with everything, and he was still busy producing stuff, and that was going to be that, really. So very well played. 2 excellent timing coming out of there from Son, and that earns him a 2-0 victory over the winner of WCS UK. So really, really strong stuff coming out from him. We'll see how far he can get in this tournament bracket. In the meantime, guys, don't forget to tweet at ESET UK Masters, and the brackets are up at eset.abinarybeast.com. We'll be getting into another best of 3 straight after this particular commercial break. So don't go anywhere, guys. I'm Jarasar. I'll be back in a second.